Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Seb wins the die roll and starts us off. They draw, play a mountain, and pass. Felix has a tapped Jetmir's Garden, shipping it to Marie. Marie just plays a mountain. I draw, playing a tapped Rivendell, and passing. Seb's turn has another mountain coming into play, and they cast Thrill of Possibility, discarding Command Beacon. They draw 2, and pass after that. Felix plays an island, and casts Sylvan Library. Marie's turn has her casting Yavimaya, which in turn allows her to cast In Search of Greatness, and she passes to me. I play an island, and pass after that. Seb's turn has a Dust Bowl coming in, and they pay 2 for Nature's Lore. They get to go and find a forest, and with their remaining lands, cast a Talisman of Indulgence. Felix doesn't pay any extra life off Sylvan Library like a coward, and only draws the 1. He plays a command tower, and then casts Edric. Marie scries 1 and draws. She plays a Crag Crown Pathway, and then casts Reclamation Sage. With it entering, she destroys the Sylvan Library since Felix isn't using it properly anyway. Marie passes after that. My turn has me drawing, and playing an island. I then pay 3 mana for a Spellseeker, going to find Whim of Volrath, and putting it to hand, and passing. Seb draws and plays Vesuva, which comes in as a copy of Command Tower. They then cast Klothys. They continue their turn with a Soul Ring, and then a Tireless Tracker, but realize their misplay, and resequence so that the Vesuva comes in after the Tracker, which gets them a clue token. Seb passes after that. Felix plays a Sea of Clouds, and casts Aragorn, moving to combat. He swings Edric at me, dealing 2, and drawing himself a card. Marie's able to put Goreclaw into play off the In Search of Greatness trigger, and then draws her turn. She's then able to cast Karlach since Goreclaw reduces her cost, and she goes to combat. She swings the Rex Sage at Seb. Seb takes the hit for 2, and Marie draws off Edric. Karlach also gives Marie an extra combat step, and this time around, the Rex Sage comes at me. I take 2, Marie draws a card, and in her second main phase, she plays out a command tower, and then pays 1 for a mana vault. I draw, play Darksteel Citadel, and then cast Orvar. That's right, Orvar. Seb draws and exiles Felix's Sylvan Library with the closest trigger, and deals 2 to each of their opponents. They then cast Soul of Windgrace, and as it comes in, brings back the Command Beacon. They then follow up with Destructive Flow. After that, Seb passes. Felix sacrifices Sea of Clouds to the Destructive Flow, and then draws her turn. He plays a 3 visits, going to find a forest, and then takes 2 as he plays an untapped Temple Garden. He then casts Cutzel, this triggers Aragorn, and Felix puts the buffs onto Edric, and goes to combat. He swings Edric and Aragorn at Seb. Seb blocks Aragorn with Klothys, and Felix gets to draw off of Edric connecting, and Cutzel also seeing it connect as well. Felix then passes turn. Marie sacrifices Command Tower to the Destructive Flow, and then scries 1, and then draws. She plays an untapped Stomping Ground, losing 2, and casts a reduced costing Ilharg. She then casts her other half of her commander with a Hardy Outlander. Going to combat, Marie swings Karlach at Felix and Goreclaw at me, putting the Hardy Outlander trigger onto Goreclaw. Goreclaw also triggers, pumping her big creatures by +1/+1, and gives them trample. Felix then takes 6, and I take 10, and Marie goes to her second combat step after drawing from the Edric trigger of a creature hitting me. She then swings both creatures at Seb. This gives Marie another Hardy Outlander trigger and a Goreclaw trigger, and she puts the Outlander trigger onto Goreclaw. Seb then blocks Karlach with Clothis to absorb some of the damage, but still takes the hit from Goreclaw. After that, Marie gets to draw more cards, and after that, she passes to me. I sacrifice Darksteel Citadel on my upkeep and draw. I then play a Rogue's Passage, and then a Thought Vessel, and I pass turn. Seb sacrifices Dust Bowl in their upkeep and draws. They exile Felix's land from his graveyard with Clothis' trigger, which gets them a mana. They then cast Titania, Voice of Gaia. Seb then's able to play a Forest for turn, and sacrifices a Clue token to draw a card and puts a counter onto the tracker. Seb then swings Soul of Windgrace at Felix, who blocks with a Soldier token, and Seb then passes turn. Felix sacrifices his Temple Garden and draws. He plays a Forest for turn, and then casts Annie Joins Us Up, dealing 5 to Karlach. This has Aragorn also making him a Soldier token, gaining him 3 life, and giving Edric +4/+4. Felix then goes to combat. He swings Edric at Marie, who chumps with the Rexage. With nothing else, Felix passes. Marie sacrifices Stomping Ground to the flow, and then scries 1 and draws. She plays a Forest, and goes to combat, swinging Ilharg at me. This has Marie putting a Balefire Dragon into play, attacking Felix, and we both then take the hit for 6. Felix's board then gets wiped because of the Balefire Dragon trigger, and moving to her end step, she bounces the Balefire back to her hand. I also get in on the action during the end step, casting Whim of Volrath with buyback, and make a copy of my island. On my upkeep, I sacrifice Rogue's Passage, and then draw for turn. I play a tap Path of Ancestry, and have enough mana to cast an Archmage of Ruins. I then pass. During my end step, Seb sacrifices 2 clues to draw 2 cards. Seb sacrifices Vesuva and draws. They exile Felix's Edric, draining us for 2, and then plays a Forest and goes to combat. Seb swings the Soul of Windgrace at Marie and gets back a land, with Marie taking the hit. With nothing else, Seb passes. Felix sacrifices his Jetmir's Garden and draws. He plays a Plains and casts Esper Sentinel. We then see an Eldamri's Call, which has him tutoring for a Bloom Tender to put to hand. Felix then casts the Bloom Tender and passes. During the end step, Marie casts Beast Within on the Destructive Flow. Seb responds to this by using Dust Bowl and blows up Marie's Yavimaya, and we then move to her turn. Marie scries and draws. Her main phase has her playing a Soul Ring and then going to combat. She swings Ilharg at me, and Goreclaw goes at Felix. Marie puts the Balefire Dragon again, this time attacking Seb, but Seb responds by discarding a land to Soul of Windgrace and draws a card. They gain 2 off of Titania, and then do it again. They don't find an answer to the dragon though, so we all take our hits, with Seb's board getting wiped from the Balefire Dragon trigger. Moving to her end step, Marie bounces the dragon back to her hand. I draw, and in my main phase, cast Cerulean Wisps on the Archmage of Ruins, making a copy of it and drawing. I then play an island for turn. I then continue my turn by casting a Corsair Captain, and then cast a Whims of Volrath with the buyback on the Captain. Since the Captain makes me a treasure token as it comes in, this allows me to make near infinite Captain tokens, but I have to draw 2 off the Archmages every time, and so I don't want to deck myself out, making only 20 Captains and drawing 40. I then cast a Shadow Spear and equip it onto Orvar. Going to combat, I swing Orvar at Marie, and with the 21 Corsair Captains and the trample from Shadow Spear, she gets taken out with the commander damage, and I gain 25. I then pass turn. Seb draws and exiles a land from Felix's graveyard for mana, and then casts a Prismatic Omen. They then try and wipe the board with a Damnation, but I'm ready with a Fierce Guardianship to counter it. They follow up with Soul of Windgrace and pass to Felix. Felix draws and sees a great opportunity to cast Fumigate, wiping the board and gaining 28 life. He passes after that. I just draw, recast Orvar, and then play out Nykthos. Seb's upkeep has them exiling my Archmage of Ruins and drains us for 2 from Clothis, and they recast Soul of Windgrace again. They then cast the Conduit of Worlds, and play out a command beacon from their graveyard before passing. Felix just draws, recasts Aragorn, and passes. I've got an island for turn, and cast Master of the Pearl Trident. I follow that up with Lord of Atlantis, and then a Voldaean Hexcatcher. With all this devotion out, I'm then able to activate Nykthos for 5. I then cast a Shadow Rift on the Master of Pearl Trident, making a copy of it, and then cast Leap to make another copy of it as well. I follow that up with a Commander's Plate, and then cast Dive Down on the Voldaean Hexcatcher, copying it as well. I'm not done though, bringing out Patron Wizard. Going to combat, I swing Orvar at Felix for 10, who can't block thanks to Island Walk. With nothing else, I pass. Seb draws and discards a mountain to Soul of Windgrace, drawing again. They then discard Petrified Field, drawing yet again, and go to combat. Seb then swings Soul of Windgrace at me, and brings back the Petrified Field. And I block their commander with the Lord of Atlantis. In their post-combat main phase, Seb then sacrifices the Petrified Field to Dust Bowl, destroying my Nykthos. They then play a mountain from their graveyard, and cast a Living Twister. Seb then passes turn. Felix draws and casts a Master Biomancer, which pumps Aragorn by +4/+4, and has Felix scrying too. With nothing else, he passes. I draw and play an island, and then put to stack a washout, naming green. Felix responds with a Path to Exile and targets Orvar, but I'm able to tap 3 wizards to counter it. Felix does get to make 2 white soldier tokens off of it though, and at least has some blockers. But I cast a Mizium Skin, and then a Mind Games on my Master Pearl Trident to make 2 more copies of it. I then continue with a Slip Through Space, and target the Master once more, and I go to combat. I swing Orvar at Felix since he has Island Walk, and the rest of the lords go at Seb, which are all massive enough to take both of them out in one swing, and I win the game through combat. Game review time. So this was a great game, sitting at just over an hour in length, which often leads to very fun and interactive based games. There were board wipes, there was interaction, there were counterspells, and yes, I did turn Mistform Ultimus into Orvar. The long short of it is, all I want to do in Orvar is cast 1,000,000 lords, and what better way to do that than make copies of them with Orvar? Sure, I have to water it down a little bit with some evasion spells, but there's also protection spells mixed in there too, so it kind of worked out in the end. I think probably the strongest card in the deck is always going to be Whim of Volrath, but it was really cool to use it in tandem with the Corsair Captain, which allowed me to basically make as many captains as I wanted to, limited only by the amount of cards I could draw with the Archmage. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.